Hi everyone, my name is Pierre-Olivier, and along with my colleagues Marc-Antoine and William, I'll be presenting the theme that we have chosen for the Learning Center, the phase in which the students will be located when we present to them the Learning Center, and as well the two of my learning stations that I have provided within the document that would follow. I'll be reading alongside a small note. So, for the theme, we have chosen video games and board games. We thought that it was something appealing to the young audience, and we also thought that combining both video games and board games would be something original. We've chosen to do this learning station when they are in the finding tuning phase. We believe that the activities that we have proposed in the Learning Center are too complicated, that they would be too complicated and too long to be in other phases other than the fine-tuning phase. We believe that students at this point are autonomous and confident when using their ESO competencies. We also believe that they are very comfortable in the English classroom, and finally that they would be able to, especially at the end of their 5-month period, they would be able to reflect on their learning. So as for C1, students are increasingly fluent and accurate when using the English language. For C2, they continue to participate in the classroom. And for C3, they can write more elaborate, on-topic and well-structured sentences. We, throughout the learning centers, we use quite elaborately all of the competencies, and we also provide an evaluation for one of each. We believe that the teacher, when presenting this learning station to his or her student, should allow students to have some time to reflect on the learning and the progress that they've made so far. And some of the learning stations do that exactly. And we also believe that it's important for the teacher to encourage the students to set learning goals, especially with the provided new context that we give them throughout the stations, and as well as with the cooperation that they have with other students in the classroom. So it's not necessarily only work that they do individually, but also in groups. So I'll be presenting the learning stations. Here are the two learning stations that I have prepared for this learning center, along with the student's booklet and the teacher's notes. So as for Station 1, the name of the station is No Game No Life, based on the anime that I'll be presenting in the situation. And the number station is right there. And student on the back can see that this station involves competency 1, 2, and 3. It is also a station that is summative of their third competency. So students read the following texts, which introduces them to the manga called No Game No Life. Shortly after, they are asked on their computer or iPad to watch a short video, an excerpt of the anime itself, which lasts about 3 minutes. In the station, first station, after that they have watched the video, they are given 10 minutes as a group to discuss their opinions about the anime. And finally, they are given 30 minutes to write an opinion in the teacher's booklet. So if we go to the teacher's booklet, I will be giving them a list of linking words to write their opinion on the paragraph. And finally, they have the opinion writing template in which they insert the topic, so video games and board games, the their opinion, the first argument, the second argument, and a concluding sentence. As we can see in this, I provide them a list of the 10 pledges mentioned during the video, so I give them also a list of definitions, as some of the pledges are complicated and they are also highlighted in different colors to appeal to kinesthetic students which have a harder time reading text that is black and white. On the following page, I give them the 2 or 3 statements which they have to discuss as a group. So do you think that the 10 rules are acceptable? Are there any rules that you would change or add? Which is better, board games or video games? And if they would want to live in a world as such. Then I provide them functional language with emojis which can appeal to the younger audience, and I provide them also a definition of what a manga is, and as well as what an anime is. Finally, on what we have seen, the linking words and finally the evaluation grid for their C3 competency, which evaluates their ideas, the organization, and the overview of everything that they provide within their small opinion statement, opinion writing. Shortly, escape room, station number 2. At the back, we see that this station involves C1, C2, and C3, and that this station is not graded as it is just a formative evaluation. So students read the following. For purposes of copyright, I have not included Mario or Bowser in this situation. Students read the introduction and they are prompted to jump into the adventure per se, and with their group solves puzzles, and they have 45 minutes to do so. And their objective is, of course, to figure out where the princess is being held. The puzzle can be found in their student booklet, so pages 4 to 10, and solved in any order that they want. Once the puzzle is solved, a clue will be given to them, and they make sure they keep it at the end, as the sixth puzzle is something where they unscramble the words and try to make a sentence where the princess is located. I provide also functional language, so can you do this puzzle? I will start this one, hurry up, and can you help me please? In the student booklet, as I mentioned, we will go to page 4. First page, they unscramble words, they have the word box and they try to place it in the list above. Then they are given their first clue, given by the teacher, which will be circulating around the class to help in other learning stations if ever needed. Puzzle number 2, reading comprehension. I provide them right or wrong answers, so the questions. For example, the first one is if Super Mario was released in 1995, and in the text it is clearly stated that it's in 1985, so they have to say it wrong. And then with their answers, they will spell out the name of the beast that stole the princess. Puzzle number 2, they do a small crossword puzzle with some definitions provided, and they're given their third clue. Puzzle number 4, they solve 5 riddles, and once they have unscrambled the letters, they are able to find their fourth clue. And finally, in the 5th puzzle, to include a sort of mathematical problem, I invite them to count the total amount of squares that there are in this picture. This gives them their 5th and final clue. At the 6th puzzle, it's the end of the road. They have to crack the password with all the 5 clues that they've been given. And this would formulate a sentence, which, as we can see in the teacher's notes, is that the princess lies in the dungeon. So if they want to finish the game, they have to go to the teacher and say, she is in the dungeon. Therefore, they finish station number 2.
Hey guys, welcome to my lovely and very professional space on which I will present this station 3, which is called Can You Guess It? So for the station, students will interact orally with each other, and they will have to complete a self-evaluation sheet at the end of the activity. It would take approximately 5 minutes, but I will come back to that at the end of my station. So the first thing they do once they get to the station, obviously, is read the instruction sheet. So they have to pick a card at random in the box that is right here. And they have to ask questions to find what is the word on their card, because they did not see it beforehand. I specified that they can only ask one question every time it's their turn, because I don't want them to just ask questions back to back and don't let others participate and things like that. So by asking them to ask only one question, they will take turns, and everybody will have the chance to share and to practice their English. So they will have to use their students booklet on page 11, which I will show right after this. And they will have to use functional language about teamwork, such as it's your turn, is it my turn, are you ready, and things like that. I would also like to have them offer assistance if possible. I also put some question starters on there and a tips square on the instruction sheet to for the question words, and to mention that all of the cards that they will have to guess are vocabulary words that they have learned throughout the year so far. I also put ask for identification to give them a hint about which type of questions to ask and things like that. So once they read that, they will go to their students booklet, page 11. So once they are on this page, they can see once again the instructions to make sure that this is clear. So basically what they have to do is to write down the word that they found or the words that they couldn't find. So the reason why I added a word I couldn't find section is because if someone has more difficulty with a specific part of the vocabulary or a specific word, they can go back there, see which one that they need to practice more or which one they need to find and search more information on. So how it would go is basically the students pick a card at random. So as you can see, the French word is like, they can't see it because if they can see the French word, well, it kind of steals from the English part of the activity. So they would have to ask questions to find what is this object and things like that. Once they find it or not find it, they write it on the right column. Once they are done with the activity, or once it has been around 35 minutes, it will show on the timer right here, and they will have to complete a self-evaluation grid on which I want them to mention if they use French for anything else, then ask what is this word in English. And I want them to rate their participation and the team participation, because if they were the only one to participate, I want to know. And if the whole team just did not participate, well, I want to know too, because there's some things that we need to talk about. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Station 3. Hey guys, welcome to Station 4, which is Master Detective. During this station, I am evaluating C1, Interact Orally in English, and it is a summative evaluation that I will complete with this grid. So I want to see how the student's pronunciation is. I want to see if they participate, if they use the right question words, if they answer the right question words, and how is their language. So if they used French or if their sentences are complete. So once they get to the station, they will read the instructions. So they pick a pack of location cards, which are right there. And without showing to anyone, they have to look at their location. 3 of them have the same location. So for example, here I have 3 times the word beach and 1 time the word imposter. So in this exercise, the imposter has to the other students have to ask questions to each other because they don't know who has which card. And the imposter, if the questions are asked to him or her, they have to lie and pretend that they have a location on their card. So if they're asked something, they just try and guess an answer if they don't have any more information about the location. But if they have more information, they can try and do like other things. So I put some functional language. They will have to use buildings because some places are buildings, some places are some locations are places, such as a park or things like that. I also thought that activity vocabulary would be helpful because they can ask, well, what kind of activity do you do in this location? I also gave question words and teamwork vocab so that they can maintain the conversation and things like that. So once they read and understood the station, they will have to go to the page 12 on their student's booklet. Now, since the station is kind of complicated, it's more complicated than some others, I put an example. So they have 3 detectives, 1 imposter, and they have to ask questions for each other, and at the end they have to write, well, the imposter was, and then they write the name of the imposter. In the example I wrote William, and the location that they tried to guess who the imposter was. So for example, here they would write, well, William was the imposter and the location was at the beach.
Hello everyone, this is William. I wish that you all enjoyed Marc-Antoine and Pierre-Olivier's presentation. So with that being said, let's dive into mine. So my station number 5 is called Why is Monopoly so popular? With a question mark on the wrong side. RIP. So basically this is a C1 and C2 activity, and this station is a summative evaluation. So because it's a summative one, this station will be done individually. And because it is done individually, there is no functional language. So with that being said, let's dive into my station number 5. So like I said, it's called Why is Monopoly so popular? So on the front page, everything that is asked and required from the student is written right here. The task is also written there. And these bullet points are there just to answer possible questions that the student might have while they are doing station number 5. So with that being said, let's turn the page. So because I couldn't find any text, any interesting text about Monopoly, about that length, I decided to create my own. So basically, I read many Monopoly texts and I selected many paragraphs from different texts and I decided to create my own. So yeah. And this is a regular C2 activity. So basically the students will have to read the whole page. And there are many questions that are in the student booklet right here that I will present later on. And they just have to read the text and answer the questions. So basically that is my, that is our 5th learning station. So number 6, my station is called Snakes and Ladders. I'm so sorry, I have hard times with the lights, so basically this is a C3 activity, and this station is a formative one, and at the end you'll see that there is a little peer evaluation. So Snakes and Ladders, just like station number 5, everything right here like serve as a reminder for the students if they have any questions. And this paragraph is basically summarizing what is expected from them. So, and because this is done not individually but in group, this is a small functional language, a small square. I can show it. Don't see very much, but anyway. So, like I said, this is a station about Snakes and Ladders, the game. So basically the students will play a game of Snakes and Ladders, but you'll see that there is a little twist. So right here are the rules, and here is what is expected to be done in the student booklet. This square is also in the student booklet, so they have a reminder. The list of words. And now let's look at the board. This is no regular game of Snakes and Ladders because you'll see in the student booklet every time a student plays, the student will have to write down the number it lands on. So for example, if the student landed on 4, he has a ladder, so he's now on 25. So we'll look at 25. He needs to write down 25 in his booklet, and you look 25, the word hobby. So basically at the end, in the student booklet, the students will have to write a sentence with the word hobby in it. So yeah, basically I'm asking them to write 7 sentences, and you'll see that in the student booklet. So with that being said, let's look at it. So first we have the present sheet. So every student will have their own booklet, and this booklet presents the Learning Center 1 to 7. So the present sheet, the student will write the date and the station in which he plays or attend. So this is station number 1. This is Pierre-Olivier's first activity. It's quite long, but not really quite long. It's only 2 pages. So let's look at this. Is station number 2. It's also Pierre-Olivier's. So he proposes a puzzle, basically. Puzzle number 2. Puzzle number 2. A crosswords puzzle number 3, number 4, and it's all station number 2. Number 5, and finally the end of the road. Yep, a long activity that is. So now station number 3, can you guess it, is done by Marc-Antoine. So everything is there. Now, it's also Marc-Antoine's activity, station number 4, Master Detective. So, if I remember correctly, this is a C1 activity. So, this is where the students will write everything. So now, the station number 5, it's mine. So, this is my C2 activity, the reading comprehension. So, basically, I created questions that answered all different kinds of needs. So for example, I have short answers, true or false, multiple choices, and the last one is a development question. And like I said earlier, the images in station 5 are really important, because here I want them to create a Monopoly game that they will like to play. So, for example, this is in a Scooby-Doo edition, and in the text I was talking about a Fortnite edition. Station number 6, the last one, the snakes and ladders. So this is where students will write the numbers that they land on in the game. So, and here is where they will link numbers and words that were in the list of words right here. This is where you write the 7 sentences. The peer evaluation, and like Marc-Antoine said, he did talk about station 7. So basically, this part is only for the students to keep track of what they have done and what they are going to do next. So this concludes our students booklet. So now let's look at the teacher's guide. So basically, we don't have as much images as we have in the student booklet, because I don't know, we just thought that the teacher would appreciate having blank sheets with only words and graph. So a copy of the present sheet. Pierre-Olivier station. So basically it's all the same for all of us. We have a brief description. We talk about the ESL competencies, the cross-curricular competencies, the star items, the material required, and at the end we either have our grid for the activity or the answer sheet, the answer keys, I should say. So I think I'm the only one who has one. So right here, this is the answer grid, and here this is specifically made for my 11 questions. 11 questions. So that concludes, well, my stations actually, and it concludes our students booklet and our teacher's guide. Thank you.
For the station 7, which is I finished early, we have different types of activities that students may complete. So for the first station, well, the activity related to the first station is a spot the differences, and students have to spot the differences in this anime and write in sentences what the differences were. For station 2, we have a crossword puzzle, and every answer is the name of a popular board game or video game. Station 3, we have a crossword with food vocabulary because it's a vocabulary that was used during the game. Same thing for station 4, a word search with vocab that was used during the game. For station 5, it's a word search that we found on internet, and there is only Monopoly related vocab in there, so pretty interesting. And for the last station, the activity related to the last station, it's a word connection, so they have to write, they have to find the right definition to the word, and it's words that were used during all of the stations.